to Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills to Boakai, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focused on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information. Talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night Debate on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jai, and we're broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of Friday Night Debate, we're going to be debating three very important topics. Number one, is President Boakai signaling his second term? Number two, Project NTR, you heard me, never to return. Should the UP, that's the Unity Party, and the CDC, the Congress for Democratic Change, be worried about Project NTR? The movement saying CDC and Unity Party should not be elected again, never to return to power. Number three, did the police have the right to arrest and drag someone to court or to jail for power theft? We're going to be debating all these right here on Focus on Liberia. Let me welcome Mr. Jimmy Eastmans, who is joining us from the nation's capital. This is the man whose name is synonymous to diplomacy. Welcome, sir.
It's glad to be here, Dennis. I look forward to a good conversation.
Thank you. Let me welcome formerly the unabashed and unapologetic sedition now VP for Administration of CMC USA, Mr. Jerome Gaiman. Welcome, Mr. Gaiman.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor.
Welcome, sir. Also, let me welcome J. Victor Nambwe. Mr. Nambwe is a teacher. He's a long, die-hard UPP partisan, but he flirted with the CPP and now with the CMC. He is all for the forward movement of our country, and whatever it costs him, he's going to do it to make sure that the democracy and the multi-party democracy people fought for survive. Welcome, Mr. Nambwe.
Hey, Mr. Jad, thanks for the invite. It is good to be here. I think if there's anything longer than my stay with the UPP, long, like you said, I think your introduction beats that. But listen, it's good fun. It's good to be here. I'm happy to be here tonight. Let me also welcome our audience. Thanks for logging on, and please spread the word. Share the show, invite a friend. Let's have fun.
Thank you. Last and definitely not the least is the guy who is behind Project NTR, Anthony Wonder Konyene Freeman. Welcome, activist and the progenitor of Project NTR.
Okay, Dennis, thank you very much. Always happy to be on. Let's see what you got.
Let's do it. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. When it's Friday night debate. Gentlemen, I don't know if you saw what I saw, but let me play for you. President Boakai was being interviewed by Front Page Africa's Rodney Sie, and to me, he said what appears to me like he's going to run for a second term. What would that look like if that's true? Is he just floating some cloud balloons to see what is going to happen? But don't take it from me. Let's hear from Mr. Boakai.
Do you see happening in this term, and do you have any future ambition for a second term?
When I came to power, I wasn't looking for second term. I was here, and I'm here to make the Liberians know that we are here to better their lives. We are here to serve them. The Bible says, he who that is faithful in that which is least is faithful in that which is much. We have to show the Liberians it will be tomorrow, is today. And that's the kind of government that I'm not looking for. I'm looking for a government that works for the people, a government that produces healthy citizens, educated youth, and make sure that there's food on the table, that people can live in their country, have electricity, have water, and live the life that they yearn for. That's my concern right now. Those who think that they want the tomorrow, they can get up and wait for their tomorrow.
All right, that was President Joseph Newman Boakai quoting scripture, Luke 16:10. If you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. But if you are dishonest in little things, you won't be dishonest with greater responsibilities. That scripture, Jesus was saying, so if you give me, the way I was understanding is, if you give me 6 years and I do good, then it means you can give me 12. Jimmy, what is your reading from President Boakai's interview when he was asked if he's interested, if he's going to run for a second term?
Being such a seasoned politician, he's been around for several decades. Yes, he did allude to that, his performance with a little should warrant him another turn to perform more. So I think he was leading to that point. And lately I've been noticing, if I see him when he was vice president as compared to now, he seems to be a lot more lively, a lot more attentive. And so if they can bolster him up until 2029, because it is still a ways away, and he's an octogenarian, if they can keep him up to perform as he is, I definitely think he will run again.
Thank you. I went to Morada College, AME Church School, and there where Mr. Gilman was a strong member. Mr. Gilman, the deacon is saying whoever can be trusted with very little things can also be trusted with much. Luke 16:10. What is President Boakai talking about here?
Well, Boakai better understand that he alone doesn't know the Bible. In the AME church, like our preacher used to say, to whom much is given, much is required. The country had given much to Joseph Boakai from 1966 when he was a cadet. From the University of Liberia, he got it right into government in the Totman era. He served Talbot, he served Doe, he served interim government, he served Ellen, and here he is. And up to this point, there is no legacy that anyone can say this is a great achievement of this great man that have worked in government for 54 years. So yes, the scripture also said to whom much is given, much is required. Much have been given to Joseph Boakai, and much has been required of him, and he has delivered nothing. Even though he mentioned smartly and shrewdly that yes, the little thing he's doing, God may bless him with more. No, but we are not accepting the little things. So Joseph Boakai In my estimation, the AME folks will ask him, for so much we have done for you, what have you done for us? Much is required of you because much has been given to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Freeman, do you see this as an implicit declaration for a second term here?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what he's saying, I wasn't looking for a second term. I wasn't looking. By implication, it means that right now he's looking at a second term. And then the scripture voice, the scripture verse about, when I perform well in one thing, and then you will allow me to perform in greater things. And it is not surprising because that what Ellen Johnson told her when she came. She told us she was going to do only one term. And the same way he was equivocating was how Ellen started to equivocate. In the Boakai case, I don't know whether health will allow him. That is yet to be seen. And it reminds me of the weird people. When we came to power, they were so much talking about 12 years, 12 years, 12 years. Well, Boakai performance, if he's not careful, he might not even end the first time. There could be some rioting or some civil disobedience that could even preclude him from ending his first terms. We have seen this thing happen in other African countries. Nobody should think that it can happen in Liberia. It just takes, especially where the population is hungry, they are jobless, they are hopeless. One small spark can cause significant rioting. That can see Boakai, being chased away. So he needs to think about that instead of thinking about second and third terms.
Mr. Morris, welcome to the show. But by stressing faithfulness, right, in small matters, the president, the president is kind of laying the groundwork, if you will agree, about his dedication, his competence. So he's laying the groundwork for a larger mandate. Is President Boakai have a point here? Is he correct that based on how he's been managing our resources, how he's been leading the country, definitely people are going to look at that and reward him with a greater mandate? Do you agree with that?
All right, thank you, Mr. John. I'll take a different approach on this. I think for everybody who have a brain can tell that once you come into wealth,
is that me? It's so loud on this end. Is that me or?
Yeah, it's loud.
Is your microphone too loud? Let me lower it. One second. Should be a lot better now, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the way I see it with the president is that once you come into wealth and you have the resources to better your health, you start to feel a lot better, a lot more rejuvenated. So you think you can do a lot more, I think the consensus was that he was old, perhaps feeble in terms of his physical health. But I think now with the resources around him, he probably felt as good as he's felt in the last 20 years or so. So he thinks that he could probably do more, with the given improvement in his physical health. But obviously, I don't think the Liberian people will want a president who's going to be 85, maybe 86 going into his second term. That's a big no-no. I think the president will be selfish if he seek a second term. The others are saying, there's whispers that he's trying to, preclude the vice president from taking over from him. So perhaps if he finish a second term, maybe it will be so bad to the point where they definitely won't win a third term for Unity Party. So maybe Jeremiah Coon will be sidelined. But that's given that he's lucky enough and blessed enough to have, the longevity in his life to run for a second term and finish that second term if he wins. But I think it's a selfish act from the president because a person of his age and his experience in government should know that after 40 going on 50 years of experiencing and working in government, it's time to pass the torch to the new generation. And had each had the choice in Jeremiah Cohen, I think he would have been preparing him to take over and be his successor. But the fact that he's even talking about a second term and floating that idea tells me that he doesn't have a lot of trust in his his deputy, president. So I think overall, just to conclude, is a sign of the African presidency. When you get into the African presidency, like we see with a lot of African leaders, the likes of Paul Biya and others, you are there on vacation, permanent vacation. You juxtapose that with the United States presidency, you see people like Obama and other presidents who, once they get into the office after 4 years, they're so old, they're so tired, they look so depleted. It's not like that for the African presidency. It's a place to go and rejuvenate yourself, to getting better health, to just kind of relax, to take away all your worries. So when people get there, they feel like they can be there forever because nothing is slowing them down. They're not stressing themselves out, trying to figure out the problems and solve the problems of the people. They're on a permanent vacation. Thank you.
So, Evan, before you pass the mic, President Boakai is saying he's faithful in little things. So, with that, he deserves big things. Is the president correct here? Is he faithful with what he's doing, the stewardship of the country right now?
I mean, initially he wasn't faithful to it. He didn't uphold the Constitution. He didn't abide by the rule of law in our country. I think he stabilized things. I think he's doing little things like trying to reconcile the country by doing little tokenism in terms of burying past presidents. But it's still, when it comes to nepotism and favoritism, almost tribalism, I think he's not entrusted himself with the Liberian people. When it comes to listening to the cries of the people, taking petition from protesters, allowing freedom of speech, he's not ingratiating himself with the Liberian people. So we can't trust him with upholding our democracy. We can't trust him with that. We will trust him with reconciliation, not upholding the democracy and constitution.
Thank you. Mr. Namwe. The others argues that the president is intentionally ambiguous, so as to allow him to gauge public opinion if he can run or not run. Do you think that's what the president is doing here, just to float some trial balloon?
I mean, that is possible. But look, I have said here over and over, and each time I do so, the Doctors Club of Dr. Pearson and Dr. Booty, Dr. our friend Buddy here, they push back on me. I think the president, he means well. I think he's having difficulties propagating, his policies and actualizing them into real concrete achievements. And so he's realizing that 2 years in, he hasn't really done much. I think he wants to stick around. I think he means well. He really intends to do something about the roads. Joseph Boakai has been around for a long time. He understands the road problem we have in Liberia. So I think he wants to do that. And so 2 years into the 6, he's realizing he may actually need more time. So, and I agree with the counselor. I think he said, he came here not looking for 4 years, something, 2 second 10, something like that, which I didn't mean now. It looks like I may be running. So those are all, possibilities. I think I think he's also having difficulties being convinced that he has a logical successor standing and waiting. I think the vice president, who is a natural successor in these matters, I think we're all seeing how he's floundering. Michael Padmore and his Crusoeville boys will say he's neither here nor there. He's not a UPist. He's not an MDR. What exactly is his base? I think that is struggling to them. He left the MDR to join the UP to join the ticket, and so he deserted the MDR. They listened to Johnson, who would have been his anchor, to talk to the MDR people and calm them down, and kind of explain to them why this was necessary. He's not around that rallying force. So I think they're looking down the road and they're having difficulties convincing themselves that other than Boakai, we don't see anybody who can hold this base together. And so maybe for that may also be some of his motivation for trying to, But I doubt whether he's going to make it. Not for any reason other than the fact that he's not doing well on executing. If he were doing little, even 10, 15%, I think he would. Right now, he's not. I don't think he's sellable. I don't know, but it is clear to us that I think the president is I don't want to say conflicted in whether to run, not to run. I think the ambiguity is quite is intentional. You keep dangling that to keep holding the base together until we get closer to 29. But I doubt he's going to run. Look, in the last election, what did he do? We heard Kanga Lawrence and the rest telling us the president got to do nothing because he couldn't. Not that he didn't want to, he couldn't. He didn't have the stamina to withstand the rigors of real politics. He couldn't leave Monrovia. He could hardly go anywhere to go and campaign. And that's because
he won.
He did. He did, and that was because the people wanted to test him, and also CMC was not. Don't forget that. So now he's gonna have a real challenge. But yeah, we're all reading the tea leaves here. I think he's leaning towards considering a run again.
Yeah, Dr. Pearson, just like CDC will say, the party is nothing without we are. So as long as you have we are at the top, they have a base, they have a reason to run. It appears that the same thing may be happening to the Unity Party, that at this time there's only Boakai that can take us to glory. And normally people who want power will push such a person, just like Sedition are pushing we are to hang on. Is it what we're saying here? Is it what starting to show in the Unity Party here?
Thank you, Dennis. Let me just say, first of all, hi to my fellow panelists and to those who are viewing us and listening to us in this broadcast. Dennis, the answer to your question is an obvious yes. But on this issue, there are a number of things I want to just quickly highlight. This is not a question of constitutional right to run for president despite the age. So constitutional and the rights issues are not the problem here. And I also know for a fact that there are, and some of my fellow panelists mentioned this earlier, there are African presidents who are past 80s that are past the 80s and they are still president as we speak. Senegal and other countries, even Ivory Coast next door to us is an example. And then one more thing I will add, then I close on what I wanted to say. But you see, Dennis, from my point and with Liberia, I think the issue is not with whether President Boakai even has the energy or the strength. I would say with money and the right healthcare and the right diet and thing, anyone who is a certain age with the right care will project a physiological frame that will look much presentable compared to someone who cannot afford the quality of care. So President Boakai, we saw 5 years back, it's far much older than the Boakai we see today. It's frail and weak. Today, President Boakai looks stronger than Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. All right. Even though she's older than him, but yet she looks stronger than him before. Now he looks very stronger than her. That's part of the age. But this is what I would say. I think my problem with age in our politics and all politicians hanging on is the failure they have had in transitioning to the younger generation. I hear people talking about my own age group now. We are the next in line to people that President Boakai them. Dennis, we all got gray hair now. If you get your beard chance to grow, your beard will be gray. And a lot of us, like even Nangwe should be the next in line to people like President Boakai, but he is and Mr. Eastman there. All right, Gonglo them on the show. They should be the next in line of authority who say we're looking up to them to take over from them. But if we who younger than Nangwe there, Mr. Eastman there, Mr. Gonglo there, our beard are the gray. Why are people like President Boakai still holding on?
Dennis is older than me. That could be if you didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that's my worry. My worry is that when do they pass on the baton? When do they give the next generation the time to exercise and gravitate towards leadership and have roots while they are leaving? Why would they wait until the next foot in the grave before they want to leave office? By the time they do that, the generation they're trying to save is not even safe to begin with, and it's not even ready to take over from them. I think that's the more important point for concentration for me than any legality or any other argument around the topic, Dennis.
Thank you. And by the way, I don't know where you were going with that age business.
Don't mind, he's not coming by here again. We'll ban him from coming by here.
But Mr. Gonglo, you know, what do you think President Boakai is trying to do here? I mean, I see, you know, through the political eyes, what is he trying to accomplish here by floating these balloons that are hey?
In terms of the executive order today?
No, in terms of signaling that he may run for a second term.
Well, I can't say much. I can't judge intention because nobody sees intention, only God sees intention. But before I go to that question, I sat here listening to Mr. Nangwe, and he utterly confused me. You know, I know he's an executive member of the CMC, and I know what the political leader of the CMC says about the UP government, what he says about Boakai in particular. To hear Mr. Nangwe say Boakai is raw intention, I don't know how does he determine good intention, quote unquote good intention. Because only God sees that one. Our intentions are hidden, right? So I don't know how Mr. Nangwe sees good intention. But then on one side, he said he's not even doing 15% of the job. So it's like Nangwe versus Nangwe here. Or is he departing from the CMC? You know, so, but here's what I will say. I don't know why Dennis put this, because
go ahead.
Yeah. So here what I will say here. You see, the challenge we have in the country is a challenge of lack of system thinking by our leaders, not just the president, not just the legislature, all those who are in policy making position in public service. Probably Mr. Eastman will relate to the mathematical concept here. You know, in high school, everybody learned the system of linear equation. You know, in elementary, you start learning x plus 5 equals 7. They say, what is x? You can find the exact number. But when you go to system of linear equation, now you particularly inequalities, you are looking at a set of solutions that are possible. And that's how you solve national problem. You know, you don't solve national problem by maybe picking on row here and say, row. You have a constraint. The constraint is the national budget. How do you allocate the resources using the system thinking so that one problem is not left far behind, does not get worse, but, you know, you manage it genuinely and move on. And that is what we lack. And that is that kind of system thinking, critical thinking that is lacking in our public service. I was in public service. I noticed that. I talk about it many times indirectly and say, all of you learn linear equation in high school. This is how we need to solve this problem. Let's look at the inequalities here. Let's look at possible solutions that can solve, because now we're not talking about X variable, we're talking about multiple variables with constraints. How do we do it? And it is like
linear equation, there are only 2 variables.
No.
That's
not necessarily. They can have up to 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah, you got inequalities, you know, so you can have several. You are taught like 2 x and y, right? But you can add more to it with a constraint, and then you can solve one in terms of the other until you find to sell a solution. So, but it is that kind of thinking. Until we begin to think that way, we're gonna have this baby step, and the masses get happy.
Mr. Gonglo,
the jubilate.
Mr. Gonglo, let me try to understand what your point.
My point is,
I'm coming, because let me ask the question, because first I didn't understand what you were saying about Nambi, the confusion there. Then secondly, Mr. Boakai is saying that he is faithful in little things, so he should be given bigger things.
Has he said that openly?
Yes. He said, when they asked him if he's running for second term, he said the Bible says, according to Luke 16:10, he who is faithful, and you know, I put the verse on that the president quoted. If you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones.
Yeah. No, but
is Mr. Boakai faithful?
Mr. Jah, I do not argue on constitutional matter.
No, it's not constitution.
Look, it's a constitutional matter. He is an elected president of the Republic of Liberia. He's entitled to run for second term constitutionally, right? Even he's 95 years old. That is his
No,
right.
but he's not forced to run if he doesn't want to.
No. But he's also, I mean, resignation is a voluntary option. So if you decide not to run, it's a voluntary option.
Right, but that's not constitutional whether to run or not run. To say this is a constitutional matter, I can say.
But he has a privilege, a constitutional right given him as an elected president that he can go 2 terms and no more, right? So for me, I'm not going to debate whether Boakai is planning to run for second term. That is his personal judgment to make because he has that constitutional right. He and his family should decide, and the voter will choose whether he perform or not perform. So I'm not going to debate that one because it's a constitutional matter. He has that constitutional.
No, but he's making an argument that if I'm doing well, so I should get another one. I'm faithful with the stewardship.
The voters should decide whether.
But what you say? What you say?
You see, he has 6-year mandate, so to judge him on less than 2 years on decision that will be made 6 years later might be maybe pushing the goalpost too far. But at this point here, what I would say that governments, after governments, the mistakes are pretty much the same. Mirror just the past. So it seemed like my comrade, the late Sumo Piwis, wrote in 1995 about, actually 1994, in the New Democrat about Dr. Sawyer, that there is something probably in the executive mansion that when president go there, there is some archive, some book they look inside and they make the same mistake the other president before they have made. You know?
Thank you.
But I doesn't address press for the first time running CA. In fact, that one-on-one there, he has not addressed the public yet. We was doing the same thing. You know? So we make the same mistake. It's just like
thank you, Mr. Gonglo.
There's something in the
Mr. Namwe, are you there? Because I want you to respond before we go forward. Mr. Namwe, Mr. Gonglo, he has some questions about you. I want to give you 30 seconds to respond. A minute.
Yeah. Well, look, I've said here, I've sat with the president twice, right? And I've listened to him very passionately describe the potential that he believes road connectivity will unlock in Liberia. When he talks about it, you can tell that he really, really means he's given it a lot of thought and he means well about it. There are a lot of other things that he's talked about, and because of that, I am convinced that he really means it when he says he wants to connect the country. And so that is my reliance. I am not.
He said when you're talking from the CMC angle, you don't say that. So he's thinking that you are conflicted between Namwe as a president and Namwe as a CMC.
No, look, I have always said I have questions about the performance, the capacity of this government to perform. Yeah, I've always credited them for their lofty ideals. The 90 days no call. Yeah, those are their pronouncements. But I've always said their execution, their performance, leaves us a lot of us disappointed. I've always said that consistently. So if you want to talk about LPP and CMC, bring it on. We can talk about it. But I don't see where I'm conflicted. I'm very clear. I didn't say anything when you're talking. So let me finish. I'll give you in 2 seconds. I'm very clear when I speak on what I believe this government could be doing. And given the kind of people who are in this government, including his very buddies, his LPP boys of Kofi Woods, of Alare Togba, they're all in this government. I can go and name several more. People who we really know have the capacity and understand the plight of the ordinary person. And they're all in there, and we don't see anything coming out of this government. That's what I'm talking about. And CMC is going to change that. Believe it or not.
Thank you. Jimmy, let me bring you in. If, let's say, for any reason President Boakai is running for a second term, what is it going to impact, right? Because we're talking about, a possible, we are coming back and then we have the same phase of we had again. And we're going to talk about NTR because somebody said don't even give two of them a chance. But what will a second term run mean for the country, for President Boakai?
Excellent. But before I answer your question, I just want to add to what Gongo was saying. Gongo was introducing a very sophisticated idea. And this is how we do solve problems with several different variables. The variables are different issues you have in the country. Now, how can you solve all of those issues at the same time? That's when you build them into various linear equations and you eliminate the variables. You eliminate the variables one by one until you can simplify it and find one solution and find the rest of the solutions. So it is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to have a think tank that is coordinating all the different issues we have in the country and coming up with a solution that will not be a solution just for healthcare or just for garbage or just for education, but it will resolve all the problems simultaneously. And that is what we should be doing. But so because, now to your question, because the bar is so low, because we can just build a road here and we can go here and dedicate well. So it appears, and if this is superficial to some, but for some people, this man is doing a lot more than the other man was doing, and it is impressing them. So because our standards are so low, because our eyes are not open, we can move at this pace until we can bring up our youth to be as wise as they can, to be as competitive, to have sophisticated thought process, to be scientifically prepared for the next millennium. That is when people will be challenging the old folks from yesteryear. But because we have not brought them up, so the way it's clear for them. As long as we suppress our youth, that they never gain the awareness that they need, as long as we suppress them, they will not be able to take over the old people. This is an old strategy they're using. It's nothing new. Keep the youth down, keep them uneducated, and we old people, we will dominate. So yeah, it's possible.
Mr. Gilman, I want you to conclude on this topic here. President Boakai just had back-to-back prayer meetings. He's quoting scripture for a possible second term run. Is he trying to appeal to his church base here?
Well, like I said, he was quoting Luke in the Baptist church and in the AMB church. I quoted back to him Luke 12:48. When Jesus Christ was preaching to his disciples, he told them, said, those of you within my armpit, those of you who are within my orbit, that have been tutored, that know the law, you will be held accountable. You will be held to a higher standard. Just what we are saying here to Joseph Boakai. President Joseph Boakai.
You say what that verse again? I want to check it up. I don't want to.
Luke 12:48.
Okay.
So, Joseph Boakai, for instance, most people on our shows, they were clapping for Joseph Boakai when he did his proclamation on war and economic crime court. And he promised that he was going to put $2 million in the budget. And today on the front page of Front Page Africa, it says here, a drop in the bucket. Joseph Boakai promised $2 million and gave the entire war crime court $300,000 for a whole year. So then you want to say that like my brother Nambe said, I look him in the eye like George Bush, and I saw his soul. He said the man means well. He's committed. Yes, he committed $2 million to the War Economic Crime Court that we were clapping for. Today, he gave the entire department $300,000, which is not even just enough to pay the director and one staff. So this is what we are talking about when they say these people are just good to make flowery speeches and to impress folks, and people clap. Today again, we saw another executive order 151 that no more latex, no will be leaving the country without processing added value. People are again clapping. Then when you read down, people say, what is the enforcement mechanism? How are you going to do it? Who's going to do it? When it's going to be done? How it's going to be done? Nothing is there. So this is what we are talking about, and I'm glad. I'm sorry to burst my brother, not Miss Berber, but this is just another proclamation that means absolutely nothing. The president's expertise is agriculture, which is cheaper to do where money is. So you're talking about roads that takes about what, $2 million per mile? It's never going to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And let me say you are correct by your quotation because I wanted to fact check you. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And so that's the second part you're talking about. You are not talking about beating. But this takes us to the next. If President Boakai is asking that is signaling for a second term, there's a group that says NTR never to return for CDC and UP. And that group is led by Anthony Wonder Konyene Freeman. So the question I was asking here is, should the CDC and the UP be worried, or this is another bridge to nowhere? Konyene. On mute, please. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Every great idea starts simple. And most of the time, people laugh it off, but eventually those who stick to it and are persistent, eventually they achieve their objective. So there is enough reason to believe that the Liberian people are fed up with the UP, which is on their third run, and the CDC that is chasing their second run. I think Boakai performance is very disappointing. And not only is it disappointing, but there is no likelihood of him being successful because the things that are supposed to bring the success, he is not even prepared. For example, he is not having a budget shortfall. But prior to having a budget shortfall, in the early regime, there was budget shortfall. And he said, early squander opportunity. In the weird regime, there was budget shortfall. And he said, they gave a main job to a boy. So from early to weird, and now we have budget shortfall on him because obviously he rides private jet. The legislature is legislating half of the budget to themselves. So I believe that the Liberian people are prepared for the message. It is our job to do the necessary social research, to do the necessary political activism, to do the necessary networking to make sure that these two parties no more return to power. And I believe that's possible.
NTR.
Yes, Project NTR. No second chance to squander.
I need a background here. I need a background here. Please send it to me.
Okay. You joining NTR tonight?
Oh yeah, I want to be a member of NTR and want to propagate that message.
Okay, so tell me why. So let me go to you now. Is that realistic? CDC has like 30%, UP has like 29%. I mean, where are you coming from with? And these two parties have been in power. The people are behind them since 2005.
Dennis, there's something I will say. I think psychologists can explain this better. Maybe somebody who studied social science on this platform will probably explain that better. Or maybe someone who is a pastor or reverend who goes to church and preach, because that's what they do. They work with people, parishioners' mind to put them in that mode. In 2005, Joseph Boakai was on the ballot. Unity Party was on the ballot. They went to second round. In 2011, it was a sinking. George Weah was still on the ballot. So voters across Liberia, if you look at over the lifespan of 20, 22 years, in fact, even people who were naive voters in 2005, they became qualified to vote, eligible to vote in 2011. And they voted either George Weah or Boakai on the ballot with Ellen Johnson selling, right? So a lot of voters have seen these people. And so that's one thing that can explain why they keep doing that. That's one thing, because we keep seeing them without much challenge the alternative view. So people tend to believe that, oh, this is just true. Let's just go with it. But given the situation now, if you look at what I think internet is helping to explain some of these things. Now that young people are able to go online and see Burkina Faso that is in the war. They are fighting terrorists. They've really sent soldiers to the war front. In the last 2 weeks, young Burkina Faso were in Switzerland, taking part in the international robot competition. Both the senior and junior team won. They came second to China, I think South Korea, and they won in a competition that they defeated Nigerian, Ghanaian, South African in that competition, and other nationalities from Western countries, and they came second to China. So they're saying that, okay, young people in these other countries are advancing.
Thank you.
How we don't have this? So the point is to say to the voters that, look, your problem is these two institutions, they lack their governing philosophy is, I can say both of them do the same. Go to World Bank, when they sign one loan, they show like this as a source, the macro sources. When they are generating more money to utilize and allocate it properly, that they will not even need loan. They will not even need it. But they go and take loan that they pass that burden to future generation. And what do they do? What do they do without loan? They steal. I can give one example. Look at the GSC audit report on the African Development Bank support loan to agriculture ministry. I was one of those that applied for that loan as a farmer. I didn't get it. But who are the people that got it? Snow, Bryson Gaffine, Jeremiah Kuhn, Amra Corner, you name it. People who don't even need it, they are the one who got it. Because that is the policy of these two political parties. Take loan, mismanage it, do a little bit of bigoting, and then get the public clap for you. Of course, the masses are poorly educated, and for a good reason. Look, there is a political scientist in South Africa. He's well read, Prince Marshall. He argued, that's not his idea because you're quoting all of political scientists. He said, all around the world, the way rulers keep themselves in power is to keep the masses illiterate. Because once they are educated, then they know the right thing and they don't follow you.
Thank you.
In Liberia today, all the young people, they can't even wait for 2029. They are going around looking for people to express their interest for 2029 so they can be Zukwe and get small money from them. Because they have nothing to do. They are idle.
Thank you. Elvis, dislodging those two political parties will require, a credible alternative, resources. They have built up loyalty over the years. Is this a realistic goal here from Project NTR?
All right. Thank you, Mr. John. Look, I'll be as nice as I possibly can be. I'm not a very nice person when it comes to being, diplomatic. But it's an impossible task. It is almost frivolous in this conception. And I say this because in this very great country where we have sophisticated people and society has become so sophisticated politically, you have a duopoly of political parties in this country, meaning two political parties that seesaw between power in this country from almost its inception. In Liberia, we're getting to that point where you have two political parties that are probably going to be seesawing between, political power. Now, like you said it rightfully, Mr. John, CDC has a base about 30 to 32 or 33% of the voting populace. United Party maybe a little less. Most of these parties don't win election purely based on their base, their basis. It's usually based on
your microphone is kind of a little faulty. But let's walk through. It's painful, but let's see if we can.
okay. Usually, it's based on a coalition that comes around, during the second round. So I think an institution like the NTR should really focus on the grassroots. That's why I always say people always start an organization and try to go for the head instead of building it up from the grassroots, using the youth movement, using the know-how to get representatives and senators elected. You can never dislodge a political institution being an activist, organization. It's never going to happen. And I'm not saying, and I'm saying it because we have to know who we are as a people and who Liberians are. When we're in the West, we're different. Our mindset is different. But the majority, the almost 6 million people of us who live in Liberia, the mindset is different. A man will not tell you, say, you know what? Even though I can get a job, or even though I have proximity to Unity Party, I refuse to vote for them because I don't want them to come back in power because they didn't perform the last time. It's always about those who are influential, who know that they have proximity to power. They're going to governize the people to get that person in power because it'll be more favorable to them financially and politically to have power. That's the bottom line. They're not going to listen to your rhetoric about never to return. This is not high school. Your high school teacher giving you, expulsion from school, never to return. This is politics. It's dynamic. Different things change. Different things come into play. People. Yeah. I don't know if my microphone is still bad, but different things comes into play. And just simply saying that you don't want them to come back into power because they didn't perform well, it's not going to work. They've been working in America, sitting here and formulating it, but on the ground where people are looking for jobs and looking to proximity to power, to get some political power and to get some money, your idea is never going to fly. I'll try to fix my microphone.
Thank you. Let me get your take, and then we go to Dr. Pearson.
Okay. I mean, we've been saying the same thing. Me and Gongo was thinking the same thing. They've been suppressing the people have been suppressed, and they keep it that way. They keep it status quo because by making our youth capable of taking over tomorrow, we will displace them. I think I believe this is treachery. This is not leadership. When you refuse to bring your country up to par to compete with other countries, when you refuse to do it, you take all the money, the budget, and you spend it on yourselves and your allowances and nothing on education, hardly, to bring the youth up to tomorrow. This is not leadership. This is robbery. This is an oppressive regime only concerned about their welfare and their wealth. So for this new group, NTR, I agree. They need to start at a grassroots level. They need to go down to the everyday man, the student. Start from there because really, soup. That's where soup got all its power from youth. You need to start educating them, exposing them to these things, talking about it. Start a movement, and it will crescent into something later on. But to go straight to the top and start a political movement, unless you have a whole lot of money, unless you can promise a whole lot of jobs, it's not going to happen. You got to start with the youth, the grassroots.
Dr. Pearson.
Thank you, Dennis. I think it's a tall order for Attorney Freeman because based on my understanding of politics in Liberia for the number of years I've been around that God gave me the life to see, politics in Liberia is not ideologically driven. In fact, it is not even party driven. A lot of people think it's ideologically driven or party driven. It is not. For as far as I've known Liberia and its politics in Liberia is individually driven. And the individual either should have gravitas or some influence, where we call popularity, or the person must have power. So you either have power like the two-way party, and then everybody gets subjugated to your power and marginalized to follow you, or you have power like Samuel Doe, and then you suspend the constitution and you decree 88A and stuff like that. Everybody must fall in line. Or you got to have popularity like George Manning Weah, or like Charles Gange Taylor, or like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, or even the Joseph Yoman Boakai. So then it becomes a popularity contest. So I think based on these two characteristics I just labeled, it is going to be hard for me to see how we can ban two political parties. Because, for instance, if even if CDC become a situation where George Manning Weah leaves CDC and goes to ANC, trust me, ANC will be one of the leading political party in Liberia in an elections. People will go to vote for George Manning Weah because he's now in CDC. They go because they love him. They are not going to the party because they love the party, they love the man. And that's I can justify that by saying we saw that when Chewy party lost power, they lost the party. When NPP lost Gange, they lost the party. When UP lost Ellen Johnson Sirleaf briefly, they lost the party. When what is his name? I think I mentioned Chastity already. So if you take away we are from CDC, of course, CDC is going to go down the drain until they get somebody else who is popular. So I wouldn't look at targeting party. I would look at targeting individual who may have the popularity, but may not be fit for power. And then we all should gather around ourselves and educate the population as to why, as popular as this person can be, why they don't deserve the presidency like President Boakai. President Boakai on the campaign trail, who are losing consciousness, and they will have to prop him up to call his attention to some of the things he should be saying because he have lost consciousness, and yet people still vote him into power. So they saw all the delinquency in him, and they still voted him. And that was sad for the country. And then we're seeing it happen now. A lot of things shots that have been called in Liberia now is not President Boakai. No, it's not him. President Boakai sleeps most of the time. Sad to say that, but that's what happened.
So Dennis, if I can make a quick point here. I think I'm listening to like Pearson. For the clarity, I think the argument on NTR is not that any party should be banned. No. We're just trying to expose where we are in terms of our material condition, the material reality of the country. It is so because of these two political parties. But your point you're making now is kind of interesting. That what we don't have institution, we have strong men. Because you are saying if we are leave CDC and goes to the ANC becomes the popular party, right? Then CDC dies. So, but that speaks to like what all of us here probably know, why our nation failed. Because we have strong men in Liberia, we don't have strong institutions, So the same thing.
You're only interjecting. Don't take too much. Let Nabe come on. Nabe, I want you to give me your take on NTR, and then we go to continue to tell us, if you got any response for.
Well, yeah. First of all, let me observe here that Dave Jah, an LPP cadre who's rejecting his LPP cadres in government today, he terms as being a Hopo Joe when Jerome Gayman leaves CDC to come and support CMC. And here he is talking about joining the NTR. I don't know what that makes him, but I'll leave it there. He will answer me in the chat. But let me say this. Look,
NTR is not a political party, right?
It is going to be. It is going to be.
It's a political party or not, John. It's an idea.
All right. Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
I disagree with everything you just said. So let me move on. So look, let me tell Elvis, we have no illusions about the task at hand. We know it's an uphill climb. He said, it is impossible, it's unheard of, and I get it. But we are prepared to do the work. CDC that won this election is not the Congress for Democratic Change. It is this very counselor here who reminded us today. It was a coalition, a coming together of several parties, including the NPP, including Ellis Tyler. Are they with the CDC today? No. The CDC that won that had a 32%, if you took a snapshot today, I don't think they will even have 20%. I can assure you of that. How do I know that? Because they are deserting the CDC. You know that. Kanyo Babala is on his way. You know that. Serena Ford is on his way. You know that. You heard Mary brought today, whatever. You heard Milton TJ signed up. So look, we're taking notice. We're taking notice, but we will first let the UP and the CDC people duke it out. They will annihilate one another and then we'll come in. We are watching. We will do what hasn't been done in this country. We will do our projects. We will go to our people and ask them where it hurts most. And they will put their finger there and we'll relieve that pain. That's what we'll do. And we'll do that in all 15 counties before 2029. Watch me. We'll shock the world.
Mr. Nangwe,
Can I get
CMC is a weak start for any political party in Liberia on the premise that is based. CDC is. I just push back quickly, Dennis. CMC is premised on a trap that the Liberian people have not accepted yet in Liberia. Let me tell you, that's going to be a big pushback for CMC in the coming elections in 2029.
Listen, John, I wanted to come here quickly.
I'm not doing it, Elvis.
I want Konyene to come in.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it back quickly. Look, and I'll run through that.
Hold on. You say a tribe. You're talking about Clara. I want you to explain that.
So they got a lot of work to do. In Liberia, there's a sentiment, there's a political sentiment around once they say you're a Mandingo person or they say you are a Muslim person, anywhere near power, whether the president say or elected officials, there's a major pushback on that mentality. I'm not saying an individual that is a good thing. I'm saying that is a reality in Liberia.
You are kind of giving leg. You are fueling it. You're putting little kerosene on it, but that's fine. I just wanted to get that clarity. Let me go to Mr. Nabwe.
Yeah, no, quickly, let me give it up. And Dr. Pearson, I accept what you're saying, except that we are not that breed of politician that you are discussing. They do nothing, eat money, and walk away politician. We are a talk and do people, and we're doing it now. We're doing it now, and we'll ask later to have you elect us. Now the other way around. We are here to put in the dirty work that's necessary and do the dirty lifting. We're going to do it. By the time 2029 comes around, let's come back here and have this conversation.
And definitely we'll do it. Konyene, I want to get your response.
The first thing I want to say is Project NTR has two pillars. The first pillar is to make sure that our people know that these two parties that have squandered opportunity don't need to come back. That's pillar one. Pillar two is to work with the non-CDC, non-UP opposition and devise a formula that they can compete internally and arrive at an ideal candidate. Nobody in Project NTR is running for office, not even representative or senator. Absolutely nobody is running for higher office like president or vice president or anything. There is absolutely no running for office in the Project NTR. Absolutely, completely, exhaustively. At no point in time will it be turned into a political party. The second thing I want to say is, gentlemen, what is the reason for education? It is to make the impossible possible or the seemingly impossible possible. So with research, with strategy and implementation, anything is possible. Anything. There is nothing in this life that is impossible. Everything on this one is possible. You just need to sit down, study the problem, analyze it well, research, re-strategize, and implement. Anything is possible. So I've started in Senegal, PASTEF. It was a hush-hush group of activists that removed long-standing parties. In Botswana, a party was in power for 60 years. And a group of activists put together a coalition that removed a party from in power for 60 years. If a party that has been in power for 60 years and one of the best performing countries in Africa can be removed Who else can be removed? Yellow machine people? Buka dancers? Come on, man, gentlemen. Give yourself some credit. I believe anything is possible. You just have to study the problem, strategize, and go with a plan. Project NTR has a plan to cover the 73 districts. We have a plan to reach out to leaders and bring them together. And I think it's workable. So nobody should doubt us. We know what we are doing, and we are going in that direction. Nobody should doubt us.
Can I respond, Mr. Jack?
Yes. 30 seconds.
Yeah, I hope my microphone is good. Look, let us not delude ourselves and think that this is not a political institution without political undertones. We know that Mr. Attorney Freeman ran for vice president, I think, a couple election cycles ago, in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So he is a politician. The thing here is, I will use a Bible saying, right, or a Bible verse, maybe.
It's going to turn into a political party.
Of course. But the point here is that
let's base your answer on what they are telling you now, and then we can.
Yeah, my point here is faith without work is dead, right? So activism without concrete and tangible work is fruitless. It's futile. Nobody in Liberia is going to work with you because they're tired with United Party and the CDC. It's only because they're in opposition to the United Party now, for example, and they want to get back in power. Your vehicle to removing this president or any other political party is not the most likely. They're going to follow the bandwagon, which is more viable and more credible, and that's going to be the largest opposition party at the time, which right now will be the CDC and the ANC and the other coalition parties that's in opposition. So you're a smart guy. We respect your legal illumination on this platform, but don't fool us by saying that just hoping and praying and asking God to change something is going to make it a reality. Our reality is actually different than the reality of people in Liberia. The people not looking for activism to remove political parties. They're looking for tangible replacement who will actually have the bona fides behind them, like a George Weah, or Joseph Boakai when he was in opposition. So this whole idea that you're trying to be some kind of idealist and running on ideological differences, it's not going to work. Activism in political space doesn't work. We've never had an activist president in Liberia. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Thank you.
Right, and just to be clear, Konyanen did not say that through prayer and fasting things are going to change. He talked about their plan. But
what is the plan?
He did mention strategy.
What is the strategy?
And maybe he didn't disclose.
But he didn't say prayer. That's all I wanted to say.
He did mention a strategy, and again, I believe also that is not impossible, but you have to know how to sell your plan, your idea, and again, we know our population is poor, so they are easily persuaded by finance. So it has to be part of the plan that you're going to protect your votes or your support by providing these things. You're gonna need a lot of money. Okay. Now, if you were somebody like Weah, who everybody felt was going to uplift the downtrodden, the ordinary person, they've believed that myth before. I don't know if you can sell it twice. So you're going to have to bring some money this time.
And Mr. Dr. Pearson, what do you think will make NTRO work?
No, I think it's a brilliant idea. Look, it's a brilliant movement in the fact that anything that will galvanize the people of Liberia, especially those on the grassroots level, that will have the education, the awareness as to what is bad for the country and what is good for the country to be given some sense of direction way before campaign and stuff like that, to give them enough information that will give them the understanding as to what is best for them, looking at the different options and alternative before them. But what I'm taking it back with is the idea of attacking the institution, like Gongolo said. Our institutions.
Before you go forward, what do you think will make an idea like NTR to work? Or are you saying it's not going to work?
No, it's going to work if you're not targeting institutions. Okay. It's going to work if you're targeting individuals. So let me give you why I say that. Because take for instance, what if going to elections, there's a coalition of several political parties and Unity Party happened to be amongst the political party that my political leader, Alexander Benedict Cummings, is a part of. Obviously, then I will have to part ways with my young brother, Freeman, who has a brilliant idea to ensure that the best candidate is picked. But now the best candidate found himself in the very party that my brother Freeman is opposing, and I am in favor of that candidate because of coalition or alignment. So then the entire movement are going to face a setback. But if my brother would say, we got a huge party, but those who have been given the opportunity to lead and have failed the Liberian people, like for example, we have won the first term, he failed the Liberian people, he's not going to return. I buy that. Boakai has gone there and he has failed the people. He should not return. I buy that. So it doesn't matter where these guys end up in. What matters is that who has failed and why they cannot come back. That would be what I would support.
Thank you.
But these are not individuals winning election. These are political institutions winning election. So United Party can you can say that they failed before for 12 years and it came back. CDC went there. The institution is probably going to merge with other political parties, and they're most likely going to come back. Liberian people don't vote on activism. They love somebody, they vote on that person based on regionality or, quite frankly, tribalism. So they're already entrenched. These two political parties that have a long-standing entrenchment in the Liberian society, you're not going to dislodge them without a candidate that's more popular than the people that you're trying to dislodge from political power. It's just not possible. Who's on the ground right now that's more popular, that even is close to popularity to President Will, President Boakai? Nobody. So let's be honest. Who are you going to run?
That's what you think. Thank you. We'll move forward, but I want Gonglo to close on this. The idea that if you target an institution, because people are already part of this institution, and let's put it at 30% or thereabout for each of them. If you say, oh, your party or your institution should never come, right? It's like you are throwing the baby away with the bathwater.
Well, a good question, good point. I think the target is really not, and the message is not really targeting the masses in this political party. Well, the masses themselves are victims, right? They've been lured into these different institutions based on false promises. We are targeting the political class with a message. And there's abundance of records. Say, for example, is Thomas Fala is one of the leading presidents of a political party. It's very easy to establish that the guy is overwhelmingly, irredeemably corrupt. How he got it well? He can come and prove it. We can challenge him. That show us the basis of your world, that you built a university. You have never invented anything, no invention. No, you have not invented no idea that has been patented to say, that I have a patent to say this has been given a patent of privilege to Thomas Fala because of his idea, because of his invention. Yet he's a multi-millionaire. The only idea he has is how to manipulate the budget. Okay? I think for nothing Kofasewa, room 1010 in one hotel. This is where they meet. That's
1026. 1026.
1026 is their innovation. He, Jeremiah, and others. 1026. That's their innovation. They have not invented anything. They only learn how to steal from public coffers. And that's how they are wealthy today. So we're talking to these people and we can target the masses beyond them. Now listen, how many years have you followed these guys? Has your life changed? Which school your kids go to? And compare the school their kids go to. So that build a new idea. And that's it. We're not targeting the masses.
Thank you. Quickly, I want to before I even introduce the last topic here, but this thing that came out on Executive Order 151, I think we had this, but executive orders are 1 year, right? So you have to repeat it, right? Is that why? Dr. Pearson, let me start with you here. Executive order saying the export of unprocessed rubber is hereby restricted, has indicated here until otherwise ordered. Only rubber that have domestic value addition may be exported from Liberia without restriction. Technical specified rubber is exempted. Okay, no person entity shall export and process rubber from Liberia unless the following conditions are met. One, at the time of domestic purchase, the following taxes shall be withheld, and on and on and on. The first time we did it, do you remember any results we have? We're doing it again. It seems that it's paying off. Is that the mojo that is driving this?
You see, Dennis, it is sad. And, a lot of the time, those of us who are Liberians, a lot of us, we simply just look at things on the surface and we celebrate it, but we don't dig deep, right? I saw my senior brother Gonglo, Tiawan Gonglo, praising this on social media, and I was wondering, does he even know what the classification of what the government call processed rubber is? Dennis,
release.
Yeah, Dennis, it's what they targeted is not the true context that we are advocating for. Let me tell you what I mean. What they say can be exported, it's simply meaning it just means the rubber should not be in the way you tap it from the tree. But if you can compare it, put it together, make it one little, look it up, look at the technical stuff. Look it up, just look it up. It just means like you make it in a compacted form and then good to go. No, when we're talking about using our raw materials for production in the country, we're talking about the kind of finished product we are looking for are tires, maybe vehicle parts, or maybe boats, or baby top, and gloves. Those are the things that my elder Gongolo were listening. But that's not what this order is saying. This order is saying just don't take it from the country the way it was started from the tree. But if you can get it to compact in whether it's in sheet form or it's in cubes form, solidify, yeah, then you can carry it all over the country. So that's not a problem for Firestone. That is not a problem for Jetty if you wanted to do that. I think that's not what we really wanted. And I think they should have put in more time to this. They should have given it to a more what should I say, an expert in the area and tell the person what you really want to get out of this and let the person advise us. The only good thing I see here so far is that there's an executive order. It has an expiration date, right?
No,
it's
not necessarily. Executive orders don't have expiration date.
No, executive order has expiration dates. They all must have a definite time frame. No. Yes, they all must have a definite time frame, brother. They all must have a definite time. That's they have a definite time frame.
They can be canceled. They can be canceled. They can be revoked if they're unlawful. But they don't have an inherent expiration date.
Usually, it's 1 year. 1 year they go for. At least in America, I'm not sure about that.
That's why
okay, I got your point. I want Gonglo to comment on this, and then
what I would say was what I'm trying to end on is that the only reason I'm happy is that at least it's a start, and now it gives our legislature an opportunity now to look into it deeper and come up with a law that is more comprehensive that will address the issue. But as it's not a big difference actually, Dennis. It's not a big difference.
But this law did the same thing when his last thing he did. I see them always bringing up this thing. Why, I agree with one thing somebody just said. Why don't we evaluate what is the purpose of you doing this? What is intended for? Because every administration does the same thing. So why are they repeating this thing and nobody really understands what's going, because we don't see any finished rubber products on the market. We don't see any factories going up. So why are they re-emphasizing this thing? Every administration is saying the same thing. I said it, Ellen said it, now Boakai is saying it. So I think let's examine it, and go into the study.
And Gonglo, do you know what the outcome of that executive order has been from Weir time till now?
All right, so for clarification, Ellen Johnson said it didn't take any step further on Firestone. Based on her experience, she was with the President Toba government, and it's widely believed within Toba's own inner cycle that the 1976 amendment to the Firestone concession was one of the reasons Turbo was overthrown, because Turbo actually moved very close to stopping Firestone from exporting. There was a timeline where Firestone was actually going to get into processing, and that timeline was coming closer, and he never made it. So people believe that, America needed a raw latex here, and some people believe that. That's other school of thought on that. And Ellen was part of that government. So I was part of the Firestone crisis in 2006. I went there with her, and I know what she said. She just wanted workers.
What did she say?
She just wanted, for example, some of the contentious issue at the time was children who live with people on the plantation don't have right to go to Firestone school because they are not direct, dependents, like natural dependents of the workers. So the government took a stand on that. That anyone who lives on the plantation must have the right to education. And if a Firestone school, they must go there, because the reason why people go there is the work is so hard, and people have to bring other people's children from the interior to help them finish the work. So even though they are living there, they are dependent, they're not listed, but they indirectly.
Right. So quickly, what has the outcome been?
I think the outcome was you saw Firestone actually build more schools.
No, I mean the outcome of this executive order that said don't export unprocessed rubber.
No. Actually, this is the first one. There's a difference between this and we are on. We are was saying don't export it because Jetty has a whatever factory or processing plant, and Jetty was looking for latex. Firestone is the biggest company and the biggest buyer from small scale farmers, and Jetty was trying to get commodity. I think he got to issue that executive order, and when Boakai came to power, they actually rescinded that. They actually override that executive order to allow, because the smallholder farmers themselves wanted to be able to sell that rubber and even export it, sell it to any buyers that want to export out of the country. We are government trying to restrict the export to just Jetty, because Jetty wanted the rubber to do something with it locally. I mean, that was his argument, that you want to process or tires, car tires, you want to produce car tires, you want to produce condom, you want to produce other utensils in Liberia, and he needed the latex. If they export it, then he can have access to the market. So that was his argument. But on this one, Dr. Pearson, I want to send some of the sentiments we expressed. The reason why I would even agree with Councillor Gongo to say, hey, kudos to Boakai. It's good to have the debate on this, because it was part of the thing that Councillor Gongo promised during the campaign. He said, hey, if I'm elected, this should be part of the executive order I will declare, that they will stop the exportation of round laws, will stop the exportation of latex in its form. We are going to have value addition before it leaves the country. You were going to use executive order to override the concession on that. It was very clear on that there was legal remedy around that to do it. So now, what Boakai has done, like you said, it may not go that far, but at least it's given the opportunity for debate. Now, the implementation of that, sooner or later, we'll know, but nothing has changed. In fact, what you said is not being implemented, because what? If there will be a change we see in the revenue generation. If Firestone was paying $1 million this year, and next year, because when you do that, you adding value, you should pay more now in taxes, because there's value to it before you take it out. So you should pay. Firestone taxpayers should now go higher than $1 million the following budget year. If it remains $1 million or less, then something is wrong with the executive order. Maybe that one way to evaluate or to measure the effectiveness of that.
Thank you. And
President,
President, executive order was executive order 124 and that was the same one. It placed a moratorium on the exportation of unprocessed natural rubber from Liberia.
Thank you.
That was Executive Order 124. You can look. I want to go to our attorney here to. I want to ask another legal question, but I want your take on the executive order. There was some legal dispute about it. Hold on, Freeman. Go ahead, sir.
Executive order show that you're not serious from a policy perspective. If you want to change your country, you pass a statute. You take it to the national legislature and they pass a law. Executive order is a law, but in the law, it is very, very, very low down, more like policy. The second thing is, it takes more than just a written statement to have people convert raw materials into finished product. One, the availability and the price of electricity. That's one. Two, technical skills, like technical expertise to convert the raw material into finished product. That's two. Three, the availability of markets. Four, probably incentives that is available for people to choose to do it. Always remember that a private business is in business for profit. By just reading a presidential proclamation, if I do my calculation and I find out that manufacturing industry in Sierra Leone is going to be cheaper, I will make more profit than in Liberia, I'm going to go to manufacture in Sierra Leone. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of presidential proclamation you make. I'm going to go to Sierra Leone. So these are the things that you put together for a private business person to say, yes, instead of going to Guinea to do the manufacturing, or instead of manufacturing in Malaysia, I would do the manufacturing in Liberia. So you can even write a proclamation down. It means nothing, absolutely nothing. If the cost of electricity, if the ability to have skilled labor, if the market is not there, or if there are not incentives, it's nothing, it's meaningless. But because in Liberia, we don't study these things, everybody is an expert, right? In law, everybody talks about legal things like the expert. You go to economic, everybody is an economic expert. There is no special expert. So people just talk about things that they don't know. You don't write on a piece of paper and suddenly people start manufacturing in your country. It's a lot more that goes into that decision to do manufacturing in the country. And if those things are not resolved, forget it.
Right. And it's very common for us to issue these things even without like a purpose. What is it that you are trying to accomplish here?
Thank you.
If you say don't send unprocessed rubber. So you want us to start making tires? Or what is it that you want? Or you just want to smell? You just want to smell rubber.
Right.
But you know why I say have you? Let me ask you about this, right? We saw the video of this going on, right? According to this story, this woman was engaged allegedly in power theft. And that's why they were trying to arrest her. They have the LEC people there, but then there is a police backup. So it's the police now that is executed. I'm looking at power theft. If somebody, commit such an act, stealing electricity, what does the law say? Arrest the person and take them to jail, while you are there? Or what is it that you do?
Okay, first, let me take it from the general to the specific. When the police is going to effect an arrest, it is either somebody is in the process of committing a crime, and then the police can just move in and effect the arrest. If that is not the case, the police needs either a search warrant or an arrest warrant. You need a warrant, either for searching or for arrest. The second thing is, this power theft thing, it emanates from a contract. Like somebody signed up to receive power from the LEC. So normally those things, it's like
or you don't sign up at all, you're just stealing it.
Yes, that is possible. But the general pattern is that you sign up and maybe or you use it wrongly or stuff like that, whatever. But let's assume even they don't sign up. But it is a technical thing. It is not like two people fighting on the street and one person is bleeding. So the technicians at LEC have to determine through technical means that you are stealing power. So normally it will start with what we call a summons. It doesn't start with an arrest warrant or a stuff like that. It will start with a summons. They will invite you to explain, and they'll bring the technical people together and try to show to you that you were stealing or whatever. And if you cannot explain, then the summons now turn to a rate of arrest. But it will start with a summons. I want to give you an example, right? It's similar to what you have in a bank situation. If I write you a check and a check bounces, it is not criminal until you come to me and tell me your check bounced. Can you correct it? Under Liberian law, they give you 48 hours to correct it. When you don't correct it, then the arrest will follow. It's almost like child support. Child support is not criminal. They will invite you. And if you able to explain, fine. If you're not able to explain and you continue to evade, then they will arrest you. So I don't see the necessity in a power theft situation. Nobody is harmed, nobody is bleeding, for you to exhibit that level of force. I'm saying that people should not assault police officer or stuff like that, but I want to believe that it could have started with a summons, and then provided the technical details are established, it can elevate to the level of arrest. But that physical altercation, it wasn't necessary. But I'm not surprised because, like I said, and I've been saying in a lot of my writings, that the police is very unprofessional, and a lot of times they use force when it's not even necessary. In that case, I feel that that force wasn't really necessary over a power theft situation. They could have summoned the person, and then based on whatever will happen in the discovery phase, they will establish theft, and then they will have come with a rate of arrest.
Thank you. Jimmy, you work with LEC. How you're doing? Somebody stealing current, then you catch them.
Well, this is the way you do it. The first thing you do, you disable their connection to the grid. You take it away, and that's all. There's no arrest taking place at that moment. But definitely you would take away their connection to the grid. And
they used to cut the wire, and they carry the whole thing to LEC.
Carry the whole wire, carry the meter, carry the wire, carry everything. You know? But there's no need for such a violent altercation. First of all, if that is her husband who made the connection, you have no need to arrest this woman. All they needed to do was to do the disconnect, you know, and advise the woman that her husband needs to go and rectify this thing. There was no need for altercation. He was behind a woman. I'm not sure why he was behind a woman. Because all you have to do, go and cut the light, and don't even bother with her, because they're connected to LEC property. You have all right to disconnect them. So
yeah, but there is a law that makes that a felony of the second degree.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to follow Councilor Freeman's. You have to process it according to the law. You can't just go and arrest the person without due cause, especially she is occupant of the house, but she's not the one who did the illegal connection. So why was he behind this woman? You see, he was wrong in so many different. He bothered the woman. He didn't have to bother that woman. He just made her disconnect and go by his business, you know, and advise the woman that her husband needs to come down to LEC. And when they get an LEC, when they get a husband, then they arrest the husband for making the illegal connection. I don't see why you're helping that woman.
Mr. Job, please let me come in.
Yeah, before you come in, let me announce, because there are a lot of people want to call in 605-313-6004. The code is 791403. Call in and let's talk. We have 26 minutes to close.
Look, I'm appalled by the disrespect that we're showing to the Liberian police on the platform tonight. You know, I remember as a child growing up in this country when I started driving. My mom, my dad.
Evans, when you start like that, you know, make your point without saying it's disrespect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, all right. Let me make my point. Let me make my point, because The point that I'm making is that when I started driving as a teenager, my parents sat me down and told me that whenever the cops pull you over, they give you a specific thing to do, put your hands on the wheel, do all the things, show respect and deference to the police, abide by all of their orders, whether it's lawful or unlawful at the time. Do everything that the police ask you to do. Get your ticket, whatever citation it is. If you want to, fight it in court, whether it's unjust, the judge will adjudicate that. To say that the police officer was wrong when this woman was clearly, resisting arrest. We see it here with black people in this country.
No. So he was wrong for trying to arrest her. He had no right.
Why do you need to arrest her? That was my question.
Like you just said, Mr. Ja, we have family back home in Liberia, right? When LEC is coming, it's a big thing. LEC goes through the communities. People who are stealing current, they're terrified now when LEC is coming because what they do, they come with police. Right, that's what I'm saying. They come with police officers with them for a reason. That is to enforce. If they have to use force, it's not the LEC people that are doing the arrest. Enforce the law that you were just stating. That is a second-degree felony if somebody is caught in the act of stealing electricity from LEC.
So what do you?
So they can be arrested. They can be arrested and taken to a police depot and processed.
Okay.
You can't just assume that this lady did nothing wrong. If the officer is trying to arrest her, let him put the handcuffs on you. Let him take you to the depot. Let him give you what your charge is, and you have the right to obtain a lawyer. That's how it's done in a civilized country. Why are we saying that this lady is right to resist arrest from a police officer? She could have won the case easily if it was found that she wasn't, doing anything wrong. The police officer was out of order. But to just say that she should have, resisted arrest, you do this in this country, people will tell you, stop resisting. A lot of people got killed, get killed for that in this country on a minor thing. So you shut your mouth. When a police officer is arresting you, you abide by his authority and you follow his instruction. But in Liberia, we disrespect our police officers, but we know we won't do the same thing here in America.
Evans, let's put it this way. So if you are still current, the law say you should be arrested and taken to the police station on the spot.
I mean, are you telling me that if a police officer catch you in the act of if you're in the act of stealing something, they're not supposed to arrest you?
No, what is stealing something?
LEC is a value. You pay money for the privilege of having electricity. If you're stealing it and they catch you in the act of stealing it, they have the right to arrest you. You're stealing. What are we saying here?
But here it is. He approached the woman. The woman. How does he know that the woman's stealing? The woman advising that her husband is not here. He the one made a connection. What is the arrest coming from then?
Well, Mr. Eastman, what did the law tell you that if somebody tells you, I mean, do it, and my brother do it, you wait until the brother comes to arrest your brother?
How do you know that she's the one that is stealing?
That's why you follow the police. You don't argue with the police and say it wasn't me. You follow the police orders and you go down to the station and you file your case.
Let me ask this. I don't know that there was any attempt to make an arrest. How do we know that this was an arrest? It could have been if someone's been served. I don't know if they went to arrest anybody. I don't know how we come into this conclusion. But the woman was not even was not I don't think she was a target. I think they were trying to find the husband. If you listen in the clip, there's another person saying, "Go call the pape," something like that. But I think what brought her into the picture is her own reaction that we all saw here. First, they hit this person with the bench or the stool, and then we heard about the suit being pulled. And then these are the interactions we saw here. Then, of course, the police officer attempt to arrest her now after the assault.
But the woman was being badgered. She was being badgered. She's not responsible for the illegal connection to her husband. Okay, why is she being badgered?
Well, that conclusion can only be reached by a court, Mr. Eastman. The court will reach that conclusion, not her just telling the police officer.
They could have simply been asking her for where her husband was. I mean, we don't see. There's not that much action going on. We all know that. It could very well be.
So she was being arrested for throwing the bench at somebody.
That's what I would say. That's when the arrest began.
You can be arrested for disorderly conduct.
I don't think that
was assault. No, she was charged for assault. As a matter of fact.
Yeah, throwing the bench at a police officer in America. What do you think happens to you?
Yeah, I mean that is in place. But what initiated this whole thing? You go behind a woman.
Let's read
our
it. It says Zina Ba, the Fulani lady who assaulted the police officer, has been charged with simple assault and resisting arrest. Her husband Ibrahim Jallo faces charges of power theft as well.
Hello.
Additionally, Officer Togba has been suspended without pay for 1 month for forcefully removing the woman's hijab during the arrest.
I disagree with that nonsense. I disagree with that. That's complete
So the
sabotage.
police should have given you a little background to this, but it's not clear what
It's not clear. So let me bring in our callers. Maybe our callers will clarify it. And that's why, Evans, you can't be so emphatic, right? Because we're only looking at this little tape.
Yeah, my point is respect the police, Mr. Jai. Respect the police. It seems deference we get it to any relative. Respect them in our country and give them the authority that they have.
And maybe your parents also told you that there are instances where you ask for the police to identify themselves. You can ask police questions. You don't just follow because they can't.
But more, Elvis, I want to tell you something. I agree. We're supposed to give policemen due respect, but the same policemen, they pull you over, and they ask you, "Say, my man, where am I my side of you have no. This is the same police officer who doing it. They have compromised their own integrity. All men and several times.
That's a good point, Jimmy. That's a good point.
That wasn't the case, yo. That wasn't the case.
We don't know. We don't know. Maybe.
No, we know because the husband was charged with theft of LEC. That means the house was compromised, and the police were actually called there because something was wrong with the connection. That's why they went there. There was reason to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know,
the reason was not to take somebody and drag them to court. Let me bring in one of our callers here now. Caller Vincent Kia, you're live. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the show. This is Rivo. I'm going to know against you. Listen, you know, sometimes when I listen to Liberian people, making Liberia different from other world.
Mind you Liberian, right?
No, I said someone in
Liberian. Okay. Sure.
No. Because of that, you doesn't make a number. Listen, it's a number. Your feelings about other people does not matter. Because your feeling is only for your own. I know why I hear you have a citizen or you know we are. And when you talk about citizen, it gets only part of any one that is bad. And this thing I think I'm very here from the one. That's nothing. Because we are one of the person is anti, not because of it did wrong, because it's successful. Period. So any kind of issue. Listen. We talk about political party, two political parties we country for 18, 20 years. One president ruled the country for 27 years. One president ruled the country for 19 years. 10 years. It was not issue. Listen, when you say anything is not like it, you got to get me to get it up, not to criticize.
Oh.
We hear America 200+ years. They don't got two political parties. You got other political parties. But not recognized. Is it Ghana?
Is it a political party not recognized? Go ahead. You say the political party is not recognized. The people voting every year.
They are not recognized. Another political party, the other party is not recognized.
What do you mean they're not viable? They're not viable. That's what you mean.
No, don't put words in the memo because that's sedition.
Yeah, don't put they're making my man, you're not making it, yeah. Let me tell you now. Whatever you get to defend, you're not making it.
Mr. Number get a match and say you want to hear a show.
Listen, I listen to you all the time when you talk about anything direct.
The man wants to screw your live boy and carry it.
I'm not kidding you. I always listen to him. And listen, nothing is tough. Look, when President Trump left power, if our president went against him, he did. At least that's the small history. John Manessy, not John Manessy, John Adams, if our president went against him, but still he took one election. Went against him, but still one election. Those are things that happen. Even down to
that may your point with your minute coming be over.
Okay, thank you for the show. I told you the money.
Thank you. I know you are now. All right, let me go to Joe Moyu.
Yes, sir. How's it going, Dennis?
Great.
Nice show, as you. Look, let me just comment on that police situation. I mean, it just screams training. And the concept of de-escalation. Now, if the Liberian police, if you know you're going to arrest a woman, you should have a female police there, and she will effect the
I think the woman the person arresting, I think a female officer.
Oh, it was a female police that was wrestling her on the ground, because I didn't see that on the video.
Maybe a woman are cool, man.
Yeah, that
Well, when the top guy doing the whole thing.
Very cool, man.
The concept of de-escalation, they could have de-escalated that process, where it would have just been very, very simple to take that woman in custody. Instead of, taking off her hijab and throwing her on the ground and all that. It just, but the Liberian police, from my time there, I noticed they need a lot of training. Sometimes excess training. Maybe they need to send a group of them abroad to come and see how people, handle those sort of situations, and then go back and train the new recruits or the new hires. Anyway, I'll be back.
I think that's a woman, yeah.
Thank you. Let me take one more caller here. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Hello, good day. My name is Frederick Yahweh. I'm calling from Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Go ahead, Frederick.
Yeah, so we watched the video. It's like clearly it's horrible, the woman being attacked, but I really think all of this is just like political games. Like, if we take a step back and we look like from the last 6 months, like we've seen how Muslims been targeted. Like, we've seen Prophet Key come out and say something about like Muslim community. We've seen a lot of people just point out like different things. Like, so I just think it's like a political game, like within the government. Like, I
don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
A political game, because it's something. It got to be something that's causing the tension and the friction between like Muslims and Christians, and it has to be something.
Okay. What you make of Project NTR? They say they don't want to see CDC or Unity Party getting into power again. What do you make of that?
The never return. Well, we'll see. The election is like years away. It's like light years away.
Mm-hmm.
Party could win the election. CDC could come back to power. UP could repeat. It really wouldn't make a difference. It wouldn't make too much of a difference, because like the same thing gonna keep happening again. Lots of people gonna complain about corruption. The same thing, like they're gonna be overturning and turning again.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, gentlemen, those are all the callers we have, and we have 12 minutes to close.
Okay.
Mr. Gonglo.
Let me go, because I was singled out by this pseudo caller who called himself Breakable Power. And let me tell you my tiny sedition.
The person called, please respect our callers.
I do. He didn't respect me, so I will not respect him. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, Mr. Tiny Sedition, I speak about the performance of the previous government as I do about the performance of this current government. If you pay attention, you will know that. Why? Because I think that both of them, they have enormous potential. President Weah, a populist president. This man he's so loved, he could have done a lot of good. He could have used his popularity to drive some of the very difficult decisions, and the people would have followed him. He made music. He was dancing all over the place. Huh? That's what he did. And you want us to sit down here and do what? And tell him what?
President Boakai and Webb dancing more than President Weah and Webb. What are you trying to say?
If you pay attention to Dr. Pearson, you will hear me. I said that both governments.
Yeah, but
The
they call
bulk of
President
them.
Boakai too.
I'm not done yet because you didn't let me finish.
Right.
You didn't let me finish. I'm still talking about the CDC yet. So the CDC, they fail us. What did they give us? A lot of government confusion sanctions because of corruption. Because of corruption. And then we come to this government and we say here, well, you know what? This could be the better. They told they are the big boys, the bigger boys in the room. You know, they have almost all the cream of the crop in this government. And yet 2 years going on, they're having difficulty figuring it out. And you want us to come here and say what?
But if you can support Berete, who took his son from prison compound after violating drug law,
I support Berete because then you want to go there. Let me go there. I support Berete because he's building a bridge in Bapulu that's been there for over 50 years, where so many people have died and nobody has done anything about it.
I wanted to throw something in here as we close, right? A few days ago, a list has been circulating on social media about how many people from Lufa County are in government, right? So as you do your closing, I want you to talk about this, right? President Talbot is saying nepotism, Ellen, we are to say Southeast now. Do we have a Lufa problem here? And let's close on that as you wrap up and do your closing comments. Let me start from the bottom here. Councilor, no, not Councilor, you made a mathematician. Mr. Gonglo, your closing.
Well, my closing, this has been a very good show, good debate. But here what I will say. I mean, I don't know if I want to really comment on this particular issue you just throw in, because I think the argument I've heard from some of my friends from Lofa, I have a lot of very good friends from Lofa. I've argued with some of them that the executive laws of the country actually call for geographic balance in the appointment of the cabinet.
Ministers.
Specifically on the cabinet.
Yeah.
So if you look at the makeup of the cabinet, it's predominantly Lufen. But the argument I've heard from them is, oh, Lufa has 6 tribes, which actually does not address the issue, because if you argue on the issue of the tribe, then there are about 16, 17, I would say 17 tribes, because I would consider Sapo a tribe, not as a subgroup of the Crown. So you say 17. So, and you have about anywhere between 20 to 22 cabinet positions. So actually the president can afford to have each tribe to have 1 cabinet member and still give the other deputy and assistant minister to Lufen. But at least there is a rationale why the executive law envision that, hey, let's have each county represented, because it's where budget decisions are made mostly, in terms of executive making proposal on the budget, in terms of executive driving the development agenda. It is in a cabinet debate. So each county should be represented. It's a good idea, but and it's not just President Boakai. Even Ellen Johnson said it. Most of the counties didn't have cabinet members. Some counties had 2 cabinet members, 3 cabinet members. That's how she did it. So it's like our leaders come to power and don't respect the executive law, don't respect the laws that they take off to respect.
You got 20 more seconds to close.
Yeah, same also we are. So for me, I think the debate we're having, and I think we should have many of these debates. And for me, I encourage a dialogue, because it's better to dialogue and debate the issues that are affecting us as opposed to being quiet. When we talk, it's better we talk about our problems and educate so our leaders can hear us.
Thank you. Dr. Pearson, you're closing.
I would like to close by saying, when I see the conversations we're having tonight, it brings back to mind what the NTR are trying to project. We need to vote people like Alexander Benedict Cummings to leadership, not because he belongs to a party or he has a base or whatever the case is, but because we want a common good for the Liberian people. To see us discussing a president who has 40+ years experience in how he appoints officials to government, which we're talking about how to improve technology and make some major changes. We're talking about appointing people, one group of geographical Texas 800 series to hire from who? The very people who voted him into power? So I think the NTR, I would just encourage Freeman to redesign NTR, not necessarily to target political parties, but for us to target individuals that we can educate the Liberian people on why they are not.
Want another sanction list? Is that what you mean?
That's what we can come our own sanction list, and I encourage Minister Freeman. We can have a platform that decides who are the sanctioned individuals for 2029, and that should not come near power and advocate and campaign against them vehemently, and give the parties chance to realign. Thank you.
Thank you, Elvis.
All right, thank you. Look, I think in Liberia, even though we're in the diaspora, we have to respect the authorities that we have in Liberia, whether it's the police, government officials, anybody who have authority in that country, you have to respect them. The court system is there. If they abuse their power, you can always go to court to see, to seek redress. Secondly, let me just say this, this thing with the political party. My sincere hope is that the CDC will merge with the ANC, build a more formidable coalition come 2029.
Let me give you some news here. The ANC people, they told their political leader, Alex Cummings, they say, hey, that the same thing you did, you revived the UP when they were dying. Now CDC dying, you try to revive them. We're not part of it. That's what I heard.
Yeah, but that's my hope personally, because I think there are a lot of inherent similarities between the two parties, and I think that they both like something that each other has. The CDC has a strong base. The ANC has the financial stability and the wherewithal on how to manage. So I think those two parties, if they come together, they can be formidable. But lastly, let me say this to President Boakai. I think he should seriously not consider running for a second term. I think he still has 4 more years or 5 more years if you want to go that far. So really formulate something that will be long lasting. Maybe pick a successor and groom him in the time that he has, so that hopefully when he leaves office, his legacy can be continued if they win or elections come 2029. But to run again for a second term is just selfish and something that is not going to do us any good, because I think even though his health is better than it's ever been in the last 20 years, it's going to deteriorate. Once you hit 85, 86, you just can't do it physically. You're going to be much more tired and much more incapable of running the country like Liberia. Well, but thank you for having me on the show today.
Thank you. J. Victor.
Thank you, Dennis. Great show tonight. Thank you all very much. It's been very, very exhilarating. Look, I laugh when I hear the seditions quoting the ANC. Apparently they're tired calling the ANC 1%er. Alice Cummings is not going to forget that. Right now, you guys, you've been kicked out of your building. You're looking for money, and you want Alice Cummings to come and prop you up. Good luck with that. But I'll say this. Look, I have been watching politics for quite a while, over 40 years. And I can tell you this. I'm not ashamed to say, I know Musa Ability has, look, we are not going to allow perfection to be the enemy of the good. I think Musa Ability is doing a lot of good for this country for the little time he's been on the political scene, because I'm observing the projects he's undertaking. He is addressing those areas that have been bedeviling our people for ages. And because of that, I've indicated I'm going to help him. I see people writing here, he's in it for the money. I have been with the UPP forever. I've never gotten swayed because of money, because I believe in what the UPP has been pushing. Right now, we don't have the resources, and I think Musa is showing the potential, and I'm here to help out do that. And so whatever you want to type and whatever you want to say, you can go right ahead. And we'll all see what happens in 2029. I support what Councilor Freeman is doing. I think we need him to continue with that. I think it will help the process. If it only means just to shame people and expose them, we will embrace that. I want him to know that he will have partners in the CMC, and we wish him the best of luck. As I'm heading out, let me just say this. Last night, we had the first NFL game. It is football season, people. What else can you ask for? My Phillies just won. I'm having a great weekend. I hope you are having a good weekend. Thank you. I know you say, whoa, because you know what it is right now.
Practice game you're talking about.
Practice game.
Anthony Freeman. You didn't talk about the Lufa problem. You left it alone intentionally, but that's okay.
Evening. Let me start with the police. Look, I'm not supporting assault on the police, but power theft is in the same category of crime like child support and writing bad checks. Okay, it starts with a summons. It doesn't start with an arrest. The person will have to come in, and based on the discussion, it can turn into theft but or maybe they are being evasive. But power theft is not something you go with that kind of maximum force, like armed robbery or something like that. You know, I mean, the way they handle that woman was like, okay.
How is that stealing different from stealing, candy or?
Because it is technical in nature. To establish that it occur, you will need technicians to come and establish that it occur. A police officer is not equipped.
It's not like stealing sneakers in a store.
No, it's different. The technician have to come and say the connection was like this, or the meter reading was like this. You must say, even if they give you the meter reading, you wouldn't know if it was a power theft. The police is not equipped. So definitely it starts with a summons. And someone is a voluntary request for you to come. And if you don't show up, they send it again. But it's not the level of crime for the kind of force that I saw. I'm not saying they should assault the police officer, but power theft don't rise at that level. It's like bar checks or it's like child support. It doesn't rise to that level. So the other thing I wanted to say, look, if you listen to the audience, Elvis, you can see that there is something developing, because why? It makes common sense. And that's why we are using a slogan that every first grade child knows in Liberia: NTR. So I don't like to hear people telling me this thing doesn't work. Wonderful life, my life is a testimony of what works. The impossible doesn't exist. Anybody can achieve anything in life. We may be small, we sit down, we study the situation, we study the environment, we study how other people did it, we can do it. Nobody is going to tell me this thing is not possible, because, like I said, just in Botswana, a government that was in power for 60 years was removed by a group of activists. Senegal, Argentina, is happening all over. So you can say it's impossible, fine. If you want to say impossible, that's left with you. But Wonder Freeman lives in the realm of possibility. So I'm telling you, it's possible. George Weah abused opportunity. In fact, if the Boakai regime wanted to do what was just, when the central bank ordered report came out, George Weah should have been charged with corruption for stealing more than 200 million from Liberia. He has not been charged. He walks around free with the Liberian money in his pocket. So that is the least we can do, is to prevent him from coming back to steal another 200 million. And we believe we have a message that will resonate with Liberia. We are, and the current gentleman agreement man, and that is currently stealing, all of them will be denied from coming to power. No second chance to squander. You squander one time, you out. That's the project NTR, and that is why we wipe them away.
Thank you.
If you run in 2017, you didn't win, you missed your opportunity, you squandered a chance. So no more time again for you to run again for a second time.
Jimmy, you close.
Yeah. So about the lo-fi issue, I'm not.
Elvis, you bow.
Huh?
Elvis died.
Yeah. About the many lo-fis being in the government, it's not surprising. I mean, people should have known this was going to happen. So I don't even comment on it, because this is exactly what I expect. I went to school with a lot of the boys studied a lesson, and they got plenty of book people around. So it's not surprising.
Jimmy, stop that.
Yeah. But let me just
think they put the Lufa people there because they know book more than the other countries? Is that why?
Lufa meritocracy.
That's my own opinion.
Yeah, I'm challenging your opinion.
I recommend we start the show and go on that topic one more time.
Yeah, is the thing though. Defeating a well-established political party, especially one with deep-rooted influence and resources and networks, requires more than just opposition. It demands a strategic,
when you say resources, you mean stolen resources?
And they got it. A multi-dimensional approach. Yes, what we require. We need a clear vision. We have to offer a compelling and actionable agenda. We need fresh leadership, a trustworthy, relatable, capable figurehead with that clashes and contrasts with the status quo. We need moral clarity. We need green grassroots mobilization. We have to build from the bottom, engage local communities, youth, women, union, religious groups. We have to go to door organizing. We need strategic communication. We have to control the narrative. I noticed that the only thing about what went out of Cummings' campaign, the narrative was not controlled. They gave people the feeling that they were bougie and felt they were better than that. You have to control the narrative.
That's not what I heard. Though. What I heard, the guy said, which politician go around Mr. Cummings just like high school principal? No politician ever had the name Mr. something. Go ahead. So he said that only high school principal can be Mr.
I don't know. I know. I think I don't think they control the narrative.
Any politician with that name, Mr. Jimmy Isma and the wing. He said only high school principal can have that name. But go ahead.
Another thing, they would need coalition building. That would definitely be necessary. All those people, the NTR, CMC, you will have to keep in mind right now that you have to eventually build a coalition, okay? And last one, you need legal preparedness, because there were a lot of legal issues occurred with that when the CPP formed. So all these things have to go in. If these groups are very serious, they have to take each one of these things and run with it, a deep dive. Unless it's just a game, exercise in futility.
Let me see a show of hands. How many of you will be joining the NTR? Okay. All right, Mr. Freeman, you got 2 people from Gonglo, so 3 from this alone. I think you don't worry.
I may join when I see it taking root the way that it should.
I would join when there's a viable candidate that can lead the NTR that I know can compete. Then maybe I would join.
No, they say they won't put all the other candidates together.
They don't have to put a candidate. They can be a pressure group. They can.
So when you move in the department in CDC, who is bringing them?
Every working on thing is that nobody in the whole country.
Who? That's why I want to know who.
Me.
We are working on 2 pillars.
It could be
one pillar is education, awareness.
Anyway, thank you.
Pillar number 2 is to
Mr. Freeman, we got to close.
Yeah, but he's posing a question. Pillar number 2 is to get a non-UP,
you got
CDC.
You got 3 people voting for you, so that's a good start.
It's a good start.
Yeah, forget Evans. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, our viewers. Let's close with a song that says we are all Liberians. Whether you NTR or not, we are all Liberians.
We are NTR to CMC.
Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.